Hello and welcome to a new video. Today we're gonna take a look at the new Decidueye with the new Community Day move Frenzy Plant plus Astonishing plus the Spirit Shackle in the Open Ultra League. And I did not really expect anything from this Pokemon because it's rank 123. And so I went crazy positive with this Pokemon. And you're gonna see every single game that I played here today, I nearly hit the new rank like Expert, which would have been really cool. And I only lost basically the Expert rank due to a debuff, which you're going to see later on as well. But I climbed up over 60 points in just 2 sets, which is really cool. So let's take a look at the gameplay here. First game, we're getting hard-walled immediately, but honestly, the Shadow Poliwrath is just so overpowered in the Ultra League right now. If you haven't built a Poliwrath yet, definitely do that. And you're most likely going to wonder, why are they going here into the Rock type against a Water type Pokemon? This does not really make too much sense, right? But yeah, you might be right with it, you might be wrong with it. But I know, of course, they had the lead of Poliwrath, and I kinda don't need my lead for this. And so I tried to get as much energy as possible there. So maybe I can use that later on. But as you're going to see here, you're going to see the Spirit Shackle coming through against the opponent's Weezing, and our fast move is neutral, luckily, because if we would have went for the grass type fast move, we would have went for resisted damage here, which would have not really been ideal. But luckily the opponent makes a really weird play here. They decide to go for the Play Rough over the Brutal Swing, while Brutal Swing would be super effective and Play Rough isn't. But we can still just go for a Spirit Shackle, gonna get them low enough that we can knock them out with a one more Astonish, and they go back into their Poliwrath here, where we should be able to get the shield from the opponent, and we do. So now it's just down to getting to a Frenzy Plant. They're of course going to be able to get up to the Icy Wind, drop our attack, but we can still hit the Frenzy Plant against the opponent. And with this, we're going to be able to swap immediately in our Dinosaur, gonna be able to go for the Meteor Beam, gonna go for the Boom, and gonna get the boost to knock out the opponent. Let's take a look at the next opponent here. We're going to see what they're going to run. We're going to have a Galvantula on the lead. This is going to be a very nice one there. The Spooder is definitely good for us. But in comes another electric type with the Heliolisk. It got completely nerfed. Like, honestly, for those people that built this Pokemon, like, honestly, that's kind of sad how bad this Pokemon is now. I also built the Pokemon, so good job me. But we're going to see that the opponent is going to go back into their Spooder. Getting the attack drop immediately is amazing. But you know what's also amazing? Take a look at this matchup. We're going to be able to go for the Icy Wind, get the attack drop, and we can even farm them down. And the opponent already had enough rage critting immediately, and we can move on to the next game. Guzzlord in the lead is amazing for us. Let's see what we're gonna see coming back in here. It's going to be the opponent's Cresselia, and with this, we're gonna get rid of our Decidueye on a great matchup, while we can avoid the lead matchup of the Guzzlord. And if you see what other Pokemon I have here, of course, our say-so of the Poliwrath and our lead of the Auroras, we're going to have only Pokemon left that are going to be amazing against the Guzzlord. And with that, we can just go for the Spirit Shackle. Gonna be able to get the opponent fairly low, and I still should be able to survive another Moonblast, which is going to be amazing, as we can go for the full farm down. I can even go for another Spirit Shackle against the opponent's Guzzlord. And I would honestly say, like, while I did a video before the Community Day where I said, yeah, Spirit Shackle is most likely worse than the Brave Bird, I don't think so. Like, I think Spirit Shackle is the move you want to go for. By the way, I saw some comments as well under the video earlier. If you haven't seen that one, definitely check that one out for the Great League for this Pokemon, that they were confused why they cannot get Spirit Shackle anymore after the Community Day. Niantic decided to get rid of this move from the moveset. I think they're going to add it back again in like normal moveset. You don't need an elite temp for it, as soon as they're going to put also in the Frenzy Plant as a lead tier move. But this usually happens around like 1 or 2 days after the Community Day, so wait a few days and you're going to be able to also get Spirit Shackle on this if you forgot to get this move during the Community Day itself. I of course knew about this kind of from like social media where people talked about it, and so I was able to get it already during the Community Day. But let's take a look here at the Poliwrath completely annihilating the opponent's Guzzlord. Sludge Bomb coming through. In the back they only have their nearly dead Talonflame, so we can go for a 0 bubble to win this game. Next opponent coming through, let's see what they're going to have here. A decent lead for us, I guess, as honestly, Ampharos is a little bit tricky. Ampharos has coverage for our entire team. They're usually running nowadays Trailblaze plus the Brutal Swing, and as you can take a look here as well with the Volt Switch as a fast move, you're going to have super effective charge move damage against every single Pokemon here. So it's actually one of the better Pokemon to face with. Like, for example, the Auroras here is going to be one of the better Pokemon to face it with. I guess you can still win maybe this matchup also with your Decidueye, but it's going to be a little bit more of a trickier one for our Poliwrath. But it doesn't really matter, because we can still go for a charge move here. and this Weather Ball is gonna get the knockout against them, and they're gonna swap into their own Poliwrath, so I swap into mine, and I make a great play here, honestly. I just decided to go for the Icy Wind, because this allows us to basically push the opponent's next charge move, which is going to be the Scald, down to an Icy Wind level, without really having to worry about anything. So like basically we're gonna do now more damage than the opponent, which is kinda wild, even though we were like one turn late, but we're also gonna be able to get to the next move in time, and I can even get the knockout here, which is just kind of funny how the opponent, even though they had their own Poliwrath with like one fast move advantage, were not able to do anything with it. Speaking of not being able to do anything with it, we're going to have a little bit of a tough matchup here. We're going to have the Sandslash against us, and I make maybe a little bit of a mistake. Maybe I should just try to go up to the charge move there, the Meteor Beam, but maybe, I don't know. Like, honestly, I just try to get some damage into them to put them into Spirit Shackle range, but I think my opponent makes a great play here by going for the Ice Punch, which doesn't knock us out. They can still get 2 more fast moves in. And with those 2 more fast moves, they're sadly going to be able to outspeed us after this charge move here as well to the next one. And so they're going to be able to win the game. Well played by the opponent, maybe could have played a little bit different, but let's take a look at the next opponent. We're going to encounter most likely the worst possible Pokemon to encounter with this team, but we encountered this Pokemon twice, I think, in the lead, and so we're gonna still see how we can kinda deal with it. I tried to catch the move here onto my Poliwrath, which doesn't work out, but at least we don't get the debuff immediately here, which is great, and so I can go for my own Scald against them, which is going to get the debuff, which is great, because like this I should be able to reach another charge move in time before the opponent goes down. They're gonna get the debuff as well, so I guess that's kinda fair, but I can still reach another Scald, which is going to do some decent damage, does not get the knockout, but I expect that they're going to have the Blizzard on this Pokemon, so I decided to go into my Decidueye. We see the double coming in, and I don't really have the best answer for this Pokemon here. I can still go for the Frenzy Plant, and they actually let this move go through. So I decided to use a shield here just in case it's a payback, and it is a payback. So it is going to be okay for us, as we can still go for another Frenzy Plant if the opponent is deciding to let this move go through. We're going to knock them out as well. But let's take a look at this. We're going to be able to get the knockout, and they decide to swap into their final Pokemon, which is going to be the Gustode. And I have no idea. I have literally 0 idea. Why is the opponent staying in here? Like, why are they not swapping out? Why are they not going to go for like a Scald deck? They should have nearly 2 Scalds loaded up on the Tentacruel, just getting some damage or maybe even a debuff onto us. No, they decide to stay in here. Thanks for this, man, because I will be able to just get the final shield from you. I get a ton of damage onto you, and now you decide to swap out, where I'm like, I don't really care too much. I still have my Decidueye, and I'm fairly certain that Decidueye is going to be able to win this matchup. But I might have to call the bait, and let's see if we can call the bait, as we can go for the Frenzy Plant, doing a ton of damage. Can we call the bait here? Is this going to be the Dragon Claw? It is going to be the Dragon Claw, and so the opponent is gonna go down. Next opponent, let's see what they're going to have. We're going to have a Gliscor in the lead, which is amazing for us. We see the swap into the Poliwrath, and honestly, while you might think, oh, this is going to be a little bit of a trickier one, actually it's a fairly decent matchup for the Decidueye, because in the Ultra League, you can easily survive an Icy Wind, even from the Shadow variant. And so, the opponent is always basically forced to go for another charge move. You kinda get to your own charge moves at a very similar time to what they get to theirs, even though, of course, you have like a 3-turn fast move, which kinda makes it a little bit more awkward. But they usually still outspeed you, but as long as you don't swap in insanely late, you should be able to keep alignment with your Decidueye against the opponent's Pokemon if you just basically play it as good as possible. And here we're going to see the opponent getting walled by me, and so that's going to be a good game. This is something that you barely really see anyway. Like, here we can encounter again one of the worst possible leads, by the way, but we're going to be also able to catch a move here, which is going to be nice, but it's something that you don't really see a lot of times, where like people acknowledge that you also hardwall sometimes the opponent, which was like happening in the game prior. I just completely hardwalled them. But yeah, like you always see when you get hardwalled yourself, but you barely really see when you actually hardwall the opponent and like realize it yourself. This is for me, like, yeah, you just take the game and like, oh yeah, easy game, but you barely really say, oh yeah, I hardwalled the opponent, that's why I won the game. This was definitely the case for the other one. But here we're going to have the worst possible Pokemon to encounter for us, and it's going to be the Tentacruel, but the Tentacruel is going to use a shield here against me as well, as I decide to let this move go through, hoping that my Decidueye might be able to win this game for me. But we're gonna see one Pokemon in the back that I don't want to see, and honestly, I might make a mistake here, but I decided to go for the Weather Ball. I thought of going for the Meteor Beam, which would have done a ton more damage, but I kinda want to get some damage, so they're gonna be in Frenzy Plant range. And I might want to get the final shield, which does not work out, and they will have most likely tried to farm me all the way down, which I wouldn't really like to see. And so I'm forced to swap out, and I'm forced to be in a situation where I don't really want to be in, because they can just go for the crunch, and honestly, with a Gustard in the back, we just get hard-walled. There was nothing that I could have done there in this matchup. Horrible lead again. Horrible lead. We can swap out, and we're gonna see a Steelix, but it's a Steelix with Thunderfang. Shadow Steelix with Thunderfang is something that I have not seen yet, but that's kind of a tricky one, and even funnier is that they're running Psychic Fangs as well, trying to knock out those Poliwrath with this Pokemon, and it just doesn't work out for them. Like, honestly, funny idea. Goodbye there, thanks for the switch as well as shield advantage. Maybe try it next time, but like, I don't know, like, honestly, I laughed so much after seeing this. I was like, why? But yeah, okay, we're just going to give it to him. Funny moveset there for sure, but it did not really work out for you. What maybe works out a little bit better for you is going to be the Alone Sandslash. And yes, Alone Sandslash is a little bit of a trickier one. As soon as the Poliwrath is going to be gone, of course, if you have the Poliwrath and you can align it, it is basically the easiest matchup ever. And you still have some potential, at least with the Auroras, as you can see here. The Meteor Beam is doing a ton of damage, and I can even still go for the Weather Ball, which is going to do some decent damage as well, putting them into range where I would be able to farm down with my Decidueye as well. So I don't really need to care too much about this Auroras. I can let the move go through. It's going to be the Ice Punch again, and can I farm them down in time? I can, and so I have a ton of energy. There's still going to be a Poliwrath, but I can just go for the Frenzy Plant immediately and win this game. Next opponent, let's see what they're going to run. We're going to have a great lead of the Dragonite. And I nearly screwed up this game, I would say. We're going to see it here as well. We're going to have the Jellicent in the lead, like as a say up here, which is going to be okay for us. It is a core breaker for our lead as well as our Pokemon as a safe swap. If you encounter a Jellicent in the lead, stay in with your lead and try to go for some Meteor Beams. Because it can survive a Surf, you can still go ahead, do some decent damage with your charge moves as well. They're never going to shield at all, but you're going to be able to then farm them down with Astonish later on with your little owl there. And as you can see here, I make a different play. I decide to let the move go through, and I'm still going to go one shield down here, because for me, I know that they have the Dragonite, but I also know if I get rid of the Dragonite, the opponent is going to be stuck in a matchup where they're potentially staying debuffed the entire time. And sadly, it is the core breaker for our two Pokemon that we still have left. They have a shield left, but maybe there's still something I can do. We're going to see here the attack drop immediately coming up from the Scald, 50% chance. Very lucky and very important that we got this chance. But as you can see, they're gonna go for the Thunderbolt against the Auroras. This is not the right move, my friend. Go for the Surf next time. Of course, we caught the move, so like nothing really against the opponent. But we're gonna still be able to reach another charge move here, because the next one is going to be a CMP tie, and they will not win this one, as we can go for the Meteor Beam. Gonna boom and win this game. Final game for today. If you enjoyed this video so far, feel free to leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already, but we're going to encounter a pretty horrific lead for us, which is going to be the Cresselia. And this is going to be most likely, I think, the game which would have got me to the next rank, to Expert, if everything would have worked as I wanted to. And this is a funny thing as well, by the way. Like, I know that a lot of people are not at Expert yet either, and for me, I'm just playing meme stuff right now. Like, you saw me using the Decidueye earlier before as well in the Great League, or like the Great League Remix Cup. You saw me now using the Lycanroc Dusk as well, if you haven't seen this video, also in the Great League Remix Cup. And now you're going to see me using, again, the Decidueye, which is kind of funnier to me at least. Very interesting Pokemon for sure, but again, it's not going to be the meta Pokemon. And so we're going to see here also now the matchup for us. We're going to have the Jellicent in the back, which is pretty damn bad for us. Like, it's definitely not something that I would like to see. At least we're gonna get one attack drop. Do we get another one though? That would be amazing if we would. We are going to be able to get not another one, so that's kind of unfortunate. But I can still go into my Decidueye as the opponent swaps into the Cresselia, which is actually a matchup that I kind of want to see, because I can take those moves a little bit easier here, and I can still go for the Spirit Shackle. And I thought at this point of time, oh, this is going to be a very good game. This should be an easy one for us. We sadly don't get to the move here, which I was like, yeah, it's fine. It's okay. I can just go for the full farm down. They're gonna go for the future side, and I can just shield this move up, and I would be able to knock them out with one Spirit Shackle, and I should be totally okay. Moonblast comes in, and they're gonna get the so nicely done Moonblast debuff there, which is going to ruin us this game and ruin us the new rank. Because if we didn't get the 10% chance there, we most likely would have put the opponent into range for one Spirit Shackle there. But we didn't, and so I'm forced to let this next move go through. Of course, they baited me as well. So it was very likely to win this final match there if we didn't get the debuff. But so is the game. The debuff is there for a reason. And so that's going to be it for this video. Hope you enjoyed this one. If you did, feel free to leave a like, and I'll see you then. Bye bye.